Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all the participants of the Talks Sundays with Arun. Welcome to everybody. I'm very happy to be your host this afternoon. It's about 10 past 5 India time. Thank you for joining. If I can get to see some of you then on Zoom, then I'll be able to have some kind of conversation. I also have Udit joining me in the background here with me, and he'll also prompt some questions, and we'll have maybe something like a webinar or a podcast, and we're trying this new format today so that we can have a valuable conversation. Apologies for starting late. We had, as they call it, some technical difficulties, and happy now to have got started. So, to the people who are in the room today, both on YouTube and on Zoom, what would you like to talk about? What is it that you would like to have a discussion about? If you would like to say something, then I'm happy to have a talk around that topic that you would like to speak about. And if you don't have a topic, then I have a few. So I'm waiting for some enlightened conversation. Anybody would like to initiate a question or a discussion, please do that. Either on Zoom or on YouTube. On YouTube, you can type your point on the chat. And in Zoom, of course, you can unmute yourself. And you can also type out same way on chat. So I have a question here on Zoom from Dr. Injim. How not to let anyone else's reactions affect your mind? And it's a good enough question to start our talk, our discussion. I can see many of you on Zoom, and I welcome all my students. Some of them very popular and famous, and of course some of them wanting to be similarly famous and popular. Devansh, you are in Calcutta. Anshuman, Bombay. Hina, Delhi. Pooja, Bangalore. Good. Welcome to all of you. And also, if you identify yourself on YouTube, then we'll capture you as well. Living a balanced life in the midst of so much of uncertainty is Vidya's question, or she wants to have a discussion around that. And Dr. Imjim, just to remind you, she says, how not to let anyone else's reaction affect one's mind. There are people in the room, admit them. So this is a good enough topic to discuss things, and we can have a mutual interaction. Udit is here with me, and he will prompt discussion around this topic. Maitri is asking lifestyle diseases and its management. So I have a thought here, and you might want to consider it, and we can have some discussion around it. What if we start with ourselves and we don't start with the uncertainty, as Vidya is asking, and we don't start with lifestyle diseases and its management, as Maitri is saying? And what if we don't let other people, anyone else's reactions affect us? What about we remove the external factor? What if we start with us? What if we start looking at what is it that I want out of my life? What is it that brings me happiness? What are the activities on a given day that I'd like to be engaged in? Who are the people that I'd like to be with? What are the things that give me a feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment? So, three of you have mentioned different things. Maitri is saying lifestyle diseases and its management. So that is a completely different understanding of our daily life. We are looking at life through diseases. Dr. Injin says how not to let other people's reactions affect our mind. I'm saying let other people not affect us. And Vidya is asking a very important question: how to have a balanced life in the middle of uncertainty. Has uncertainty ever been less? She uses the word uncertainty. It seems as if it is today. What about 5,000 years ago? You step out in the night and you get eaten by the tigers. Of course, you didn't have to go to work and you didn't have WhatsApp and all that stuff. You didn't have 24 hours work and so on. I understand. But what if, life wasn't the way it is currently, but it still had an enormous amount of uncertainty. And human beings thought that by putting things around us, we can be more certain, more in control. It hasn't happened. We still feel so much out of control on a daily basis. And in the same way, it's not that diseases were any less back then, and we still have diseases today. It seems as if we haven't understood, we are not aware that nothing has changed as far as diseases are concerned. We seem to imagine that we have more control over diseases. Let's say diseases that threatened us 5,000 years ago and people died have now gone away. But now we have new diseases. You see? And then there were always annoying people 5,000 years ago as well. Not that people are less annoying today and they were or less annoying back then and now they are more annoying. There was always robbery and dacoity and people were stealing things and lying, and you cannot imagine human beings have changed much in 5,000 years. We would approximately look the same as well back then and back now. So what if we don't talk about all the stuff out there? What if we talk about things in here? Like, what about our potential? What about looking at what is it that gives me happiness? What gives me certainty? What gives me good health? What can I do that will make me mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially happy? Udit, you have a question? You want to prompt something? You're the prompter, okay, today. You can always say but, just to instigate.
I'm agreeing so far.
The tricky thing is that we've never considered ourselves that much. There is no education on the planet that looks at our own potential. I was at a practice session yesterday um, playing some cricket, and I noticed a 10-year-old boy who had come with his dad, and they were in heated discussion how the boy should play, and this dad was very clear that since he could not play for India, that's what it looked like to me, he wanted his son not only to play for India, but he wanted his 10-year-old son to be the biggest cricketer ever. There's so much heated discussion going on between him and his dad. The poor fellow, the 10-year-old fellow, he was so small, I couldn't even spot him. And here is his dad wanting him to make him a world famous cricketer. He's saying, do this, do that. Keep your bat straight, keep your elbow straight, look at the ball, watch it. I'm thinking this poor 10-year-old boy, as much as he should be out there playing cricket, he's in here in the cricket nets with his dad. He wants his son to be a champion. Now that's a great idea. I wish there were more dads like that and more moms like that who went to the cricket nets and spent time with their kids developing their potential. After some time of watching that, I told dad, the only thing I told him is, this is great. You're accompanying him and giving him all the facilities that need to develop him as a champion. But, I told him, he's only 10 years old. He will watch other people like a monkey, how babies are. They will pick up things on their own. Don't try to bring in technology to his talent and interest. He is very happy playing cricket. He is very happy playing the game. Now you want to have technology for it. But we are imposing some adult stuff on a child who wants to play. The good thing would be for the baby to play like a monkey, absorb things from older people and convert them automatically, spontaneously to becoming a champion. Just you need to give the environment for the baby, the boy, the 10-year-old boy, to become a champion. In the same way, you and I need to have an environment to become a champion, even though we didn't have, at the age of 10, somebody obsessed over your game. Never mind, now you're 25, you're 30, 35, you still can have an imaginary foster parent. You can call it yoga, or you can call it anything, or you can even call it your own championship model. You can become a champion whatever age you are, as long as you put your mind, heart and soul into what you want to do and develop that potential. Let's say that you want to start music. You want to become a champion in that. You want to develop your potential as a musician. I know some of you are great singers. I'm not included in that. My mom used to tell me, please don't sing. I will also forget how to sing. She used to sing very well, and the family sings very well. The moment I used to open my mouth, my mom used to say, "Beta, tu mat gana gana. Main sab kuch bhul jaungi." This is how it happened in the house. Not even in the bathroom I can sing, because she can hear it from the bathroom. So I'm not even a bathroom singer. But some of you I know are great singers, and that talent is hidden somewhere. I'm just going to go back to that original comments that Maitri mentioned and Vidya mentioned and Dr. Rinjim mentioned. Those are the external factors. तारकनाथ जी थोड़ा अगर बैठेंगे नहीं ना, तो मैं कहीं पे गिर जाऊंगा. मेरा ही सर घूम रहा है. आप दो काम कर रहे हैं. आप वॉकिंग भी कर रहे हैं, गुरु की बातें भी सुन रहे हैं. आप गुरु बेहोश हो जाएंगे आपको देख देख के. आप बोलेंगे नहीं, आपको तो म्यूट कर रखा है, आप बोल नहीं सकते. अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. तारकनाथ तो बड़ा अच्छा नाम है. हसीन सपने भी आते हैं. Who's speaking?
You can increase your volume.
My volume?
Yeah, I'm at volume.
Okay, like that. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, like that.
Okay, good. So, coming back to those three external factors, how to live a balanced life in so much of uncertainty, if you are focused on developing your potential, and it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to come to some examples of developing your potential, then uncertainty, whatever it is, will not play so heavily on your mind. And if we're talking about not letting other people's reactions affect you, then also if you're focused on your potential, then other people's reactions are not important. You might like to take them as feedback, but when you're focused on something to develop yourself, then it doesn't matter what other people think. Um, and then what about disease? You know that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. We know from our long associations with illness that the more cluttered the mind, the more unhappy the mind, the more stressed out the mind, the more we have disease or dis-ease. So now jumping back to working on our potential. I'm going to take the names of a few people. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was not scared of talking about things. Now, anything can be held against me. So please do, but please also don't take it personally. I'm just taking some examples. They're all human beings, good or bad as they may be. Now, Mahatma Gandhi was 58 years old when he came back to India. And from history, we know that Mahatma Gandhi rarely fell ill. And what we know is his life between the age of 58, 1928, and the age of 78, when he died at the hands of a gunman, Nathuram Godse, in 1948. For 20 years, he spent time walking the country, sometimes bare feet, sometimes not so much, and sometimes in trains and so on and so forth. He wandered around the country, bringing the country together. In a time when there was no internet, there was no WhatsApp, there was no Instagram, he became one of the most popular figures the world has ever known. And we commemorate him by having a photograph in India on our rupee note. We call him the father of the nation. And he was primary in bringing freedom to this country. Now, he was 58 years old when he started the campaign of freedom. Until that time, he had not fulfilled his potential. And it is only in 1928 when he came back to India and he saw the condition that the country was in, he started to do things which then finally brought the country together. Here is a man who is not a public speaker, is about 5 feet tall, not very articulate, definitely not a politician. He did not have much personal wealth. You can imagine how a 58-year-old man, and usually in many countries 58 is the retiring age, he started a campaign and a new job, and he fulfilled that potential. From all history that I understand and what has been written and read, he did not take many days off because of illness. He was never on sick leave. So he had very good health. And this answers Maitri's question. If you're busy doing something really inspiring, then we don't need to think about lifestyle diseases. You can just have good health because you are now fulfilling your potential. We don't have to think about uncertainty because we know that uncertainty is part of life. We can just do what we can do. We can focus on what is certain. And we don't need to be worried about what other people are thinking. because you are having a mind of your own and you can think about giving the country freedom. That's all you're thinking about. You want to do all the things that you can do to bring the country together and then fight against the oppressive forces and give the country freedom. What you're worried about is so many other things. I think about Mother Teresa. She came to India as a 16-year-old, a tiny wisp of a girl, and she stood her ground in Calcutta for the next 60, 70 years. She adopted a land which is neither hers. So she lived in an alien land. She was born in Central Europe. She adopted people who were not her own. She ate food that was not from her background. She lived among people whose religion was not hers. She lived in hot and humid conditions, exactly the opposite of what it was in Central Europe, where she was born. And she lived in this land for 60 to 70 years, creating one of the world's biggest charitable organizations, helping thousands and thousands of people every day, and it continues to do so. She fulfilled her potential. In this room, you and me, there is a Gandhi here, there is a Teresa here, there is a Martin Luther King, there is a Roger Federer, and there is a Sachin Tendulkar. Just that we are worried about people, what are they thinking? We are worried about uncertainty, and we are worried about, okay, I should not fall sick, I should not have a throatache. I'm asking you, Vidya, and there is a comment that Vidya is making on the Zoom chat. She's saying, how do I find purpose in a corporate job? Now, there are two ways of answering this question. In a corporate job, you may never be able to fulfill your destiny. That's one way of looking at it. So, an answer, a comment from my side would be, immediately write out your resignation. After the Sundays with Arun, post it. Don't even wait, even for a second. If Mother Teresa was sitting in a corporate job, you know what would have happened to Calcutta and all the poor people there. The missionaries of charity would have never happened. If Gandhiji had remained a lawyer, he would have been fighting some court case at the age of 58, somewhere in a high court or a Supreme Court. What a tragedy. What if Beethoven had decided to join IKEA or Reliance or join Elon Musk? Who knows what would have happened if Beethoven or Mozart had decided to work for Hotstar or work for Ernst and Young. They would be doing their talent shows on, the anniversary of the foundation of the organization. And Mozart, let me just, do a piece for all of you. Today is the 1st of April, Foundation Day. So one way of looking at it is you quit a corporate job. The other way, Vidya, would be to think about what is it that you can do to fulfill your potential while working in a job. Your job, for example, is not your potential. Your potential is your potential. That means that you can bring your potential out in anything that you do, anytime, any day, anywhere. The old saying that work gravitates towards someone who's willing to do it. If you sit there somewhere in the corner of a building, no work will come to you. But if you volunteer to work, guess what? three people's work will come to you. You will be doing three people's job. Those of you who worked in corporate life, you know that. If you raise your hand, then everybody will say, somebody is there to do the job. So three people will start, approaching you and saying, ye bhi kar do, wo bhi kar do, do this and do that. I've known people with absolutely no talent rise up the organization because they are willing to fulfill their potential. The moment somebody sends a message, I'm talking now of, currently, you immediately send the message back with an appropriate response. And then you know that this person is dependable. This person will respond to whatever you say. It could be yes, no, maybe, whatever it is, but you quickly get a response. This guy is dependable. This guy is reliable. You are then fulfilling a potential, not waiting for circumstances to govern what you think, what you do. It's very important to understand this phenomena, Vidya, that even in a corporate environment, you can quickly rise up the ranks even if you don't have any potential, you are hired for something, you are hired for, let's say, admin. But if you volunteer to do things proactively, you could be doing 100 things at the same time, fulfilling your potential. Those are the kind of people who become leaders in their community. This is so in school and in college. Somebody says, hey, Anamika, can you become the class representative? And Anamika says, yeah, sure, I will. Why did somebody approach Anamika? Because she is very much proactive. And somebody among the teaching community realized that she is very good. Let me just check with Anamika. And somebody says, Yashika, can you become the MC? And Yashika says, yes, of course. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me. I will become the MC for the event. You see, you are now fulfilling even in a corporate environment just by being proactive, by being ready, and by wanting to fulfill your destiny. You are volunteering to do things which otherwise you wouldn't do. You have a job, you're an admin, you're manager admin or head of admin. Why should I go and look at finance? Why should I look at HR? Why should I look at marketing? But when you sit in a meeting and you can come up with a marketing idea, it benefits you, it benefits the organization, it benefits colleagues. Suddenly, you're no longer a manager, you're a leader. So being present to your potential, and that is the topic of today's conversation, Sundays with Arun, will eliminate 95% of all the noise that exists in our minds. Just be present to your potential. Who are you? What do you want to be? What is it that you are doing with your life? Are you happy being who you are? Are the relationships that you have in your life the kind of relationships that you want to have? These are the questions that you should ask every day. If you ask these questions every day, you will find that many of the things that you're up to as of now are not really fulfilling your potential. So I'm going to pause for a moment and then let you kind of think about what I'm saying, and you can engage with me. You can question me. You can discuss. We can talk. Especially on Zoom, if you would like to unmute yourself and say something, please do. Usually either Anshuman or Devansh, who are brothers separated by 3,000 kilometers, one in Bombay and one in Calcutta, usually have the questions. They usually raise their hands all the time. Devansh, how come you started to keep a beard? Very disappointing. You were saying something, Devansh?
I just trimmed it. I just trimmed it 2 days back for Diwali, so that a little bit comes up. Like this bit. I just trimmed it 2 days back for Diwali, so that a little bit comes up. Like this bit. I just trimmed it 2 days back for Diwali, so that a little bit comes up.
Yeah, I muted him. Okay. Yes, please repeat the question to me and then I'll. Yeah, please go ahead.
So Wendy is asking, how do you know what your potential is?
Yes, Wendy, thank you for asking that question. And we have Dr. Vimjim asking the question about how to be present when all your life one has been a giver. I find it difficult to be so present. I'll address Wendy's question first. How do you know what your potential is? So, Wendy, this is a very important question. We don't have much space in our lives to ask this question. What is my potential? We don't ask this question because we are hurtling down the path that we were told to run. I tell my students to take time off, take the foot off the pedal. Even if you're 50 years old or 60, to see if you can slow down and ask yourself this fundamental question, Wendy, what gives me happiness? What gives me peace? You know, we are conditioned so much from school and college and daily living of life that we really don't know what gives us happiness. It could be something very simple or it could be something very complicated. But there are things that gives us pleasure and happiness which is beyond the momentary happiness that an ice cream gives us or a good meal gives us. There are many things in our life which really gives us peace. It gives us strength. It gives us, that desire to get up in the morning, to jump out of bed, which in Japanese is called ikigai, and it's world famous now. That my life matters. So what you have to do is really think about what is it that as a child growing up, so we have to go back in time maybe, to uncondition ourselves, to remove all the baggage that the world has given us, to think, to experience, to feel what really turns me on, what gives me the juice. Many years ago, some late autumn evening like this in October, maybe the 12th of October, which is today, 33 years ago, I encountered yoga for the second time and Sivananda Yoga for the first time. So let's say that today is the anniversary of the day I started Sivananda Yoga, a long time ago, more than 3 decades ago. Now I have something in my life which really gives me pleasure and happiness and peace, and it happened 33 years ago. If I listen carefully to it, when I go to class, I feel good. When I don't go to class, I miss the class. I'm not training to be a champion. I'm not training to stand on my hands. Doing the headstand of the scorpion is not my goal. Just going to the yoga center, the Sivananda Center, lying down on the mat, practicing yoga with other people, it gives me so much joy. When I encountered yoga for the first time like this, I realized that life can be very enjoyable. When I connect money with it, when I connect ambition with it, when I connect desire with it, then I suddenly start to lose my peace of mind. Success, money, status, desire, all of these things are now confusing. I can't do yoga and live my life, isn't it? Or so I thought. It's the same thing with anything in your life, in your daily life. If you don't connect success, no, potential and purpose are not the same. From potential will come purpose. From purpose, you cannot derive potential. Potential is who you are. It is the latent source. There is a Gandhi sitting here. There is a Roger Federer sitting here. That is potential. But that may not be your purpose. Your purpose could be 100 different things in a daily life. So, Wendy, coming back to that question, how do we find that, that particular thing that then tells us what our potential is? Our potential at any point in time, correct me if I'm wrong, is infinite. Our potential is, correct me if I'm wrong, the potential is infinite. What hasn't happened may happen, isn't it? So we never know what is the quantity of our potential. Which means that we have a capacity to be in the world and be fulfilled at the same time. That's our potential, to be fulfilled. And that potential is immense. You and I can be lifesavers, you can be contributors, you and I can be of use in the world to ourselves, our families, our communities, and the world at large at any given point in time. What stops us is our thoughts. What stops us is our conditioning from the past, what we've been told, what we've been educated to believe. Our opinions, our judgments are based on what we have inherited. I ask this question of late to all my students. What if language did not exist? What if language did not exist? Straight away we'll be able to fulfill our potential, because once language is gone, then we are left with nothing. Once we are left with nothing, then everything is possible. Anything is possible. Then you can choose your friends, you can choose your family, you can choose your enemies all over again. You don't have to be satisfied or happy with what you have inherited or what you have acquired. You can change your status of money and business. You can change your job. You can change your work. You can change your career. You can change your occupation. You can change anything, provided you remove language. Just remove language. No English, no Hindi, no regional Indian languages, no foreign language, none of those languages, no language at all, zero language. What happens? Then you're like an animal. Then you can be free. You have every possibility of fulfilling your potential. So one of the ways to look at it is to go back in time and remove the language that you and I have acquired, Wendy. Maybe without language, we'll be able to then write down on a new canvas anything that comes to us spontaneously this is my potential. I want to fulfill this. This is my destiny. I was reading a book written by a man called Robin Singh. He is the founder of an organization in India called People Farm. And he set up this organization in Himachal, and they look after abandoned animals. It came to him at the age of 30 that even though he had all the money in the world and he was working in America and he had a good marriage and things were going well, he still felt that he was not doing what he was destined to do. He felt unfulfilled. He felt a vacuum. How many of us feel that way every day, isn't it? When we go to work and come back, we feel unfulfilled. We are not fulfilled in our... When we go to bed, we say, what am I doing here? I should do more. I'm capable of more. But nobody can recognize that potential unless you recognize your potential yourself. And you have to go back in time to think about it. Like, what was it that the best times of your life in childhood and later, what gave you the excitement? Each one of us is unique. For some of us, travel is something which is super exciting. And eventually, as you go through your travels, one day you start your own travel company. Now it's not work anymore. You love what you do and you do what you love, and you're fulfilling your destiny, you're fulfilling your potential. Yeah. So Udit is interjecting. We'll take the question.
So
I'm still
on-
not finished with Wendy's question. I'm still going on. But yeah, Udit, go on.
So on that point of yours, Belita has a question. Why is it that emotions often lead us to making comparisons and a feeling of inadequacy, even when we know that every person is different and so are their abilities?
So again, and this is also part of Rimjim's question, when all your life you've been a giver, the point here is not your emotions and not how much you've given. The question is that in the future, how much can you give? I think all of us in the room, whether you're on the channel or on Zoom, you will agree that the world needs us to give. Do you have any doubt about that? That we all have to give. The world really needs us, and it needs many more of us. Yes or no? Yeah? I mean, there is so much to do. There are people who are unhappy, suffering, struggling. The whole planet is on fire. Whatever we can do to put out some of the fires, maybe soothe somebody, just like Robin Singh of People Farm. He decided to give up everything in America, come back to India, settle down in India, and start this organization, not because he has any love for animals. He said that who else will do it? There is nobody else doing it. Let me do it. That's how he set up People Farm. If you're giving to people inside your house, you might have a slight misunderstanding that you're giving a lot. Actually, being part of a household, it is obvious that you have to give. It's like saying that I'm a mother, I'm looking after my child. This is not a job. This is not giving. If you gave birth to a child, you have to look after the child. It's obvious. You cannot say, oh, I'm doing a job, I'm a mother. I mean, you gave birth to a child, you have to look after the child. It's obvious. It's part of the job. Somebody gives you a job, you're a director of human resources. Oh, I look after people in my organization. Well, there is no need to say it. You're getting paid for it. You got a job. You're talented. You have experience. That's why you got a job. You can't say I'm looking after people in the organization. There's no need to say it. It's obvious. Same way, if all your life you've been a giver, the question is you're giving to family that is not giving. You're expected to be a giver in the family. Many of the women who come to my classes say, now I'm 42 years old, my children are now grown up enough, they've gone, like to college and all, now I can look after myself. And what does that even mean? You should look after yourself every day. That is not sacrifice, that is having a misunderstanding of responsibility. The better you are, less unbalanced, more certain, healthier emotionally and physically, the better you are to handle your family. That is more responsibility, isn't it? The more you look after yourself, the better you can look after your family. In the event that the oxygen level becomes less, the cabin crew asks you to put on the masks yourself first before helping others. How can somebody who is 40 and 42 years old say, I've been giving all my life, now I want to take, or I don't want to give anymore? It's a misplaced understanding of priority. So when Belita is asking about emotions, I say to myself that you're giving into emotions, but it's a little bit like, please don't get me wrong, because words can be very complicated and language can be very easily misunderstood, but you are playing the role of a victim. When there are things in your life which require emergency attention for long periods of time, and it's an emergency and it requires long periods of time, where are your emotions? You put them in the garage, you put them in the locker, you put them in the loft. Somebody is very unwell, has had an accident in hospital. You keep running to the hospital, spend hours and hours and days and weeks. That time, even though you're collapsing, but you don't let the emotions override you. Am I right or wrong? It's only later that the effect of the emotions then come up. But you can remain on top of your emotions all the time. Not that you have to suppress your emotions, not that you have to cover them up. Human beings are funny. We have many ways of letting go of our anger and frustration. You can go into a closed room and start shouting. After some time, you'll feel better. And then all the frustration is gone, and then you're smiling again. That's all the emotions are. Some hot air. But we don't recognize them like that. We think that emotions are because somebody said something to us and somebody did something to us. If we are focused on a target, which is to fulfill our potential, then all these things don't matter anymore. Can you imagine Gandhiji saying, oh, I'm very upset. Today I won't fight for the country. I will sit and relax. In fact, I'll watch a movie. We'll still be colonized. Imagine Mother Teresa saying, no, I don't like all this. I'm going to resign. I'm quit. Imagine Roger Federer saying, oh my God, Rafael Nadal is so good. I'm not going to play tennis anymore. I think I'll pick up hockey. Understanding that we give up so easily when 1 week is not going well, 1 day is not going well, 1 hour is not going well. We are so easily defeated because you have a poem to write. And the world is missing it right now because you're so busy being emotional. You're so busy being caught up in your daily chores. You're so busy caught up with your family. Imagine Gandhiji saying, Kasturba is making a ruckus. I cannot do this job anymore. I have to sit at home. She's really fighting with me. She's saying, I'm 58 years old. I can't go out of the house. I need attention. You've been out so long. He actually told Kasturba Gandhi, she's called Ba. He said, look, I've been your husband for so long. Now I need to be married to the country. I need to go out. This is what he said. And he did. And she supported him eventually. even though there were a lot of quarrels at home. Not that I was there, it's long before my time, but yeah, I mean, this is what history reports, that they had their own share of quarrels as husband and wife, and there was a difference of opinion as to what Gandhiji should choose as a career and what she thought that he should have as a career. So the detractors will be there, and the emotions will run high. But if you get lost in that sea of emotions, then your potential is gone. That's important to understand. Yes, I'm going to pause again and ask you to just kind of let those things sink in, and let's talk. There's one more thing in Bilita's question that I really like. Each one of us is different, and at the same time, we're all the same. I want you to maybe think about it like we are all the same and we're all unique. And I personally believe, having taught thousands of students, and I'm not passing a judgment, and it is not personal, but you should take it as a judgment and you should take it personally, that you're not taking yourself seriously enough. You must take yourself seriously because you're unique. I just said that I'm waiting to hear that poem. I want to hear that song. I want to see the garden that you want to cultivate, but you're not cultivating because you're doing something else. And we don't need to wait till the time you're 40 or 50. You should start today. Go back in time and find out what really excites you. When you were 15 years old, you had a dream. When you were 12 years old, you wanted to be a pilot. When you were 10 years old, you wanted to be the first woman to circumnavigate the earth. You wanted to find out things about the mysteries of the universe. Now you and I sit in this room thinking, okay, can I get through the day today? Today's Sunday, Monday is coming. Where is that song? Where is that choreography? Where is that poem? And I don't mean that 100 out of 100, 24 hours of the day you need to be turned on. You can be just normal and upset and irritated and not fulfilling your potential sometimes. But in general, you should be moving in that direction. You should be a Mother Teresa out there. You should be like Martin Luther King. You should be like all the people whom we know are so inspiring, who are champions out there. Like an Edmund Hillary, who climbed Mount Everest for the first time, making the way for people to climb Mount Everest even without oxygen. I think of the 4-minute mile as one of the biggest barriers that athletes have crossed in the last 100 years. Roger Bannister, he was the first person to break the 4-minute barrier to run the mile, 1600 meters. Till that time, it was understood that no human being will ever be able to break the 4-minute mile. And then came Roger Bannister. Somehow or the other, he broke that 4-minute mile. Now, that 4-minute mile is not a consideration anymore. Human beings know that it can be done, and it is done consistently every day since the 1950s. For the last 70 years, it's been a norm to go under 4 minutes for the mile. And it happened because of one person. He fulfilled his potential, showing the way to thousands of people, week after week, month after month, year after year, how to break the 4-minute mile. I think of Edwin Moses, who went undefeated in one of the greatest track and field event records in history. 9 years, 9 months and 9 days, undefeated as a champion. The longest stint as a champion in any sport. Edwin Moses, 400 meters hurdles. He was obsessed. He just had one thing on his mind: gold medal in the 400 meters hurdles. That's it. What a life. What a champion, what a record. How fulfilled and happy he must be to know that he was on top of the world, doing what he liked to do, so fulfilling and satisfying. week after week, month after month, 9 years, 9 months, and 9 days, undefeated, at the top of the world. And we can go on about that, isn't it? We can keep speaking about the potential that each one of us has. And it's very exciting to think about it. Yes. Yes, Uma? You can unmute yourself for a moment, please. 1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sir, I love teaching. From
Yes.
my small, when I was doing 10th, 6th, 7th at that time itself. So, I'm not very excellent, but 70% also if I get, I will teach the people who are 50%, 40%, I'll make them come to my house and I will teach everybody. And then I found like, I like only teaching. So, I became a B.Ed, then I was doing only teaching profession only, I took it. After marriage, I stopped. I was only teaching my daughter and to my आस-पास पड़ोसियों. Then after a long time now, when I was free, you told me you start now teaching yoga. To tell you frankly, after teaching yoga, I really feel so happy to teach in the class. Prenatal also started. It's really fantastic, sir. I feel there is fulfillment and contentment in me. So, to me, the potential is, what is our potential which inspires you more?
Yes.
By doing what you get happiness. Live alone others, we also should feel happy in doing that.
Well said.
So if we work on it, definitely it is giving us more and more happiness, sir. And if the potential is, if you keep on doing that, you are telling that if the quarrel is there, potential will reduce. If the potential is more, if you involve in it, the quarrels are coming.
That's right. You don't have time for quarreling if you are working on what really gives you some inspiration.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that, Uma.
Yeah.
Yes, a nice observation by Uma that she used to like teaching and then she gave it up while she was bringing up her child. And then when she is now gone back to teaching, this time teaching of yoga, she is once again finding the same inspiration that she had when she was teaching earlier. And maybe all of us can think about that.
Even in the park and all, I will make the elders who are all sitting together, I'll go and teach them just chair yoga or something, whatever they can do at this age. Really, they also feel happy. I feel immensely happy. Thank you.
Anybody else has an observation? Anybody would like to say something? In Sundays with Arun, I'd like to have people engage in the conversation, talk about things so that it becomes meaningful for everyone. Just by contributing to the conversation, maybe having an opposing point of view, just having an open discussion would really help a lot. Sundays with Arun is a forum, is a place unlike any other space that we have anywhere else in our lives. This is where we can talk about things that we can never talk about anywhere else in the world, including our homes and our working spaces and so on. Yes, Anamika. So on Zoom, we have Anamika who would like to ask a question or say something. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask a question. So if I found the purpose of the life, what you brings me immense joy and happiness is contributing to the life of others, serving, but not doing it in a way that not doing it continuously or not doing it in a everyday, then how should one go about it? I know what I have found and I feel immense joy in that, but I'm not doing that.
Well, you should, isn't it?
Yes.
You should, if that is giving you joy and peace and happiness,
yeah.
and something else is more of your focus currently, which is giving you less joy and happiness, then what should you choose?
Definitely, which is giving me joy.
So then you should do that. You should choose that.
probably considering so-called barriers in between more prevalent than doing it like serving others, like or contributing to the society, not finding it
So what is
easy
stopping you?
here in the other land where I am in. So
So
that's
what is stopping you? Like I mentioned to Vidya, why don't you quit your job
yeah.
and do something else? That could be a point of view. But what is stopping you from consistently contributing? Let us hear that. What is stopping you?
I think it's like initiating, considering barriers only to be there, more persistent rather than finding out a way to do that.
It's not money, it's not fame, it's not success, it's not a career.
It's not.
All that is taken care of, but you're not consistently doing something that gives you fulfillment.
Yeah.
Then do that and take the leap and see where that takes you. If money is not a consideration, like you said, if you want to serve without consideration, serving without consideration means serving without expectation of reward.
Yeah.
When there is an expectation of reward, then things get contextually very different. That can also happen. For example, going back to my Gandhiji example, he went around with a begging bowl. He said, I want your jewels, I want your diamonds, I want your gold, because I want to generate enough funds to fight for independence. He did that. But he wasn't doing it for his own personal goal. It was not money for himself, it was to go into a fund, then that will, generate enough for creating that momentum of people to fight against the colonial empire. So, if there is no consideration, then you should spend more time consistently developing that side which says, I want to contribute, I want to give, I want to do this specific thing in the area of my life. So go ahead, do that. Yes, Hemant, you're next. Is that okay, Anamika?
Yeah.
So when she's talking about not able to do what she wishes to do as a potential, sometimes you have the compulsion that there are many other things which you need to do because you have to do them. Kind of, let us say she doesn't have a problem of looking after the family or earning for the family, but when you have to do that, there may be till a time where you are able to fulfill that particular requirement of your life, which may not be a potential. You have to keep a potential aside. You maybe I want to do something, but I'm just not able to do it because मेरे को दूसरे चीज का ख्याल रखना है, मेरे को पैसे कमाने हैं क्योंकि नहीं तो फैमिली रन करनी है, जो भी है. That is one thing. Now my second observation, this thing is that sometimes we have more than one potential. We have potential or maybe two. We have two likings which we want to explore, and so sometimes you get lost between the two of them. That ये करना चाहिए या वो करना चाहिए. So that is a very big challenge. So how to overcome that kind of a challenge where you have more than one potential? That's what I think for myself, that okay, I have more than one potential. But अभी मेरे को ये potential पे जाना चाहिए या इस पे जाना चाहिए. That's a very big what do you call कश्मकश रहता है वो एक.
So Hemant, and to everyone in the room, the potential is only one, it is infinite. Purpose may be many. So you can have a purpose of being an industrialist, purpose of creating a very big charitable organization. You could have a purpose of looking after cats and dogs who are abandoned. You can have a purpose of feeding poor people. You can have a purpose of organic farming or saving the planet or hundreds of different things. The potential is infinite. So potential is a state of being. This was the question that Vidya also asked. Potential is who you are. And that is infinite. Hemant is infinite, Sangeeta is infinite, Ikmeet is infinite, Hina and everyone else who's participating in the conversation is infinite. The potential is infinite. Who we are infinite beings. Who we are infinite beings. Now what we do out of that infinity is up to us. What we carve our time, space, energy, effort is up to us. We can have 5 different projects that all give meaning and purpose. Not one purpose, but two purposes. So it is a matter of language, but it's very important to differentiate the two. Who I am is infinite. What I can do, well, that is kind of limited. I can do 5 things or 10 things or 15 things. I can't do 100 things. It's not possible. Well, it may be possible, but at this time, just to initiate that thinking, let's say we have 2 different or 3 different purposes. And even if, going back to your previous observation, Hemant, which is very much valid, and I'm thinking what Anamika said also is in that context sometimes, that you have many things to look after currently, therefore forget about potential and forget about purpose. Aaj ka din kat jaye. Today, somehow I have to finish the day. You spend many months, many years doing that, compromising on every other dream that we have or hope that we have to finish the duties and responsibilities so-called for the given day or given week or given month or given year. Those are projects in our lives. That is not who we are and that is not our purpose. The larger context you can always have by rewriting your vision for life. We can call it sankalp, you can call it affirmation, you can call it manifestation. There are many different words by which we know it. Law of attraction. You can call it anything, but ultimately what we are thinking about is not to be trapped in our daily life. We can change anything. We can bring about any kind of transformation in our daily life. We can delegate. We can give our jobs and responsibilities to somebody else, or we can just quit on them. It's up to us. Of course, there are consequences, but if you have a larger context, then I don't see why family life should be compromised and why your dreams should be compromised. It is possible for both of them to exist at the same time. You can be responsible for your family and financial life, and you can also be responsible for your own dream and vision. दोनों साथ साथ चल सकते हैं. It is not necessary to compromise on one. You can do both. You can be somebody who is fulfilling his or her potential by including taking care of your family as one of the purposes of your life. And the other purpose might be that you want to train as yourself as an astronaut to land on the moon. It's up to you. You can do both. You can be a student, you can be a teacher, and you can be a businessman at the same time. And you can also look after family. Why not? We do that, isn't it? I mean, what is so surprising about that? We do that all the time. We have a pet at home, we look after the pet. We have somebody ailing, we look after that person. We have people in our offices whom we need to look after, we look after them also. What is the problem? We do that. Just our context can be slightly different. The context is not the daily doing, the context is who I am as a person, as a being. Who am I that I can fulfill the potential, the destiny that I have? Udit wants to speak. So we have a moderator in the room, and Udit, अगली आवाज जो सुनेंगे वो उदित की होगी.
So Vishaka has a question. What are some important factors in hearing us realize our potential? Like for her, a mentor is crucial.
Yes.
So like that, what else is?
Excellent. Very good question. First of all, you should start with yourself. You should be clear that you're unsatisfied, or even if you're satisfied, you feel that you can do much more with your life than you're currently doing. And you can be somebody beyond the limited 4 walls that you've built around yourself. First should be that realization. It can come from outside, it can come from inside, from within. If you just sit back with yourself quietly in your room, on your bed, in your chair, whether with your eyes closed or eyes open, you can say so many things about yourself which are so good, so happening. So that's the first. And like Vishaka says, there are a few other factors that contribute to understanding your potential and fulfilling it. In my life, a mentor was very important to crack open the paradigms that I'd set for myself, my parents had set for me, my school teachers had set for me, the world had set for me. It's called a paradigm because it is within the four walls that we operate. There is an experiment with flies. You put, well, it's with, not with flies, it's with ticks. With an experiment with ticks, you put them in a glass beaker and you put a glass lid on top. And the ticks are bouncing up and down inside the glass beaker, and after some time they realize that it is hurting them, something is hurting them. Something is not going well. They're hitting themselves against that glass lid, which is on top, the covering on top. And then the scientists did this experiment of removing that glass lid. And guess what they found? They found that the flies never left that glass beaker anymore. They had got used to the idea that there is something that is stopping them, and then they never went beyond that glass lid. Now this demonstrates an understanding of our own human life, where we have tried many times before, and maybe it has caused us suffering or a sense of failure or a sense of lack of achievement, and we have given up on that area or many other areas of our life because of that. For that, you need somebody to remove that glass lid or explain to you that the glass lid is no longer there. And that person we call in yoga as guru. And in many other forms of training, we call them as teacher, mentor, coach, guide. It's very important to have that kind of a person in your life to seek guidance. Like a Krishna and an Arjuna. Say, ask that question to the mentor. Tell me, what is my potential? Is my life going to be like this? Or can I do something more with my life? Can I be better? Is there something that I'm missing? And the mentor or guide will say, look, your left hand is not moving fast enough. That's why you're losing all your matches. You need to box with your left hand as well. You may not be able to find that out yourself. You need somebody to just tell you that. And the third is you must. So that's two. First is you. You must first decide for yourself. This is not enough. I believe that I can be happy doing nothing. Or I can be happy doing a lot of other things, whatever. You should first come to that idea that you matter. You matter by just being present in the world. Second, you need to have a coach or mentor or guide. It's good to have at least. It can even be symbolic. You don't need to have, like I have got inspired by thousands of people who've been champions in their lives. So I call them companions, I call them champions, I call them inspirations, I call them leaders in my life. There are hundreds and hundreds of people, both in the past, historically, and now in the present, who inspire me all the time. And they're beyond the ordinary. They're not like just ordinary people, human beings. They're inspiring stories of human life. So it can be even symbolic. But definitely all of us need mentoring and guiding in a very complicated world. Somebody whom we can relate to, whom we can trust, who will consistently be there for you no matter what. Maybe a foster mother. You understand what I'm saying? That's somebody whom you can rely on. Third is you must have an environment to cultivate your potential. There must be an environment, and in Gurgaon we have cultivated that kind of environment where people can grow. Like the Sivananda Yoga Centre in Gurgaon is a space like that, an environment like that, where people come together to do something together, to grow together and to achieve together. That's the prayer. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vid vishavahai. That let us learn together, let's grow together, let's achieve together, and let nothing come in the way of the two of us or a few of us learning and growing together. Let's not quarrel with each other. Now, more or less, this is an ideal situation, but an environment is necessary to create the champion in you. Without having that environment, very rarely can you develop to your full potential. The fourth is consistency. We all know that. The word consistency has been used a lot in the last 25 years. You can call it habits. You can call it consistent approach to daily living. You can call it the 5 a.m. club. Devansh, Anshuman, you have to get up at 5 every day, go to work on yourself to develop your potential, who you are. All the youngsters in the room, me included, we have to get up at 5 every day, the 5 a.m. club. And make sure that we make the notes before the whole world gets up. And get in a huge amount of activity between 5 and 7 in the morning, including our yoga practice and things that we have to achieve during the day and during the week before the clutter starts getting in. So you need to have a process. That process really is the set of habits, the set of lifestyle choices that you have, the sacrifice that you'll have to make consistently to achieve in that arena, that area that you want to be fulfilled and satisfied. That process is very important. Without that thinking, without that management, without you having that ability to sustain over long periods of time, you will not achieve your potential. What are the factors that contribute to fulfilling your potential? That's what Vishaka asked. And the last one, for me, 5 things. The fifth one is knowledge. You must have knowledge. Knowledge of yourself, knowledge about the universe, knowledge about all the things that matter. You should be an expert in acquiring, absorbing and utilizing knowledge. You should consume knowledge all the time. And what is the highest knowledge? The knowledge of? Come on, let's hear it. The knowledge of?
Letting go.
No, the knowledge of the self.
Letting go.
The knowledge of the self.
Self.
Yes. Traditionally, since I'm in this wonderful arena, yoga is that knowledge that really dives deep into my soul and generates those understandings that are so necessary to fulfill my potential. There was a time when I wanted to contribute meaningfully, and I spent a long time in school and college, and even after that in adult working life, hoping that I will find something that will make me happy out there. It's only when I started practicing yoga and teaching it in 1995, 30 years ago, I started teaching. I realized, just like Uma realized, that by giving a part of me to teaching a yoga class and being in the environment of yoga and the knowledge that yoga gives me and listening to my teachers and following what they did in their life is what brought me that peace and that happiness that I'm sharing with you this evening. That's how I rediscovered my potential. I knew my potential when I was a kid. I lost it along the way because of formal education. It was not an acquisition of knowledge. It was a way of going to school, not getting educated, so to say. I'd lost the idea of my potential. And now 30 years later, the factors that contributed to me, I shared with you, the 5 different factors. I realized that I was not fulfilling my destiny, fulfilling my potential. That happened a long time ago. It took me a few years to get out of the rut. And then in 2004, I set up the Sivananda Yoga Centre in Gurgaon. That's when I started to fulfill my potential. I realized that I needed to do things that I'm doing currently way back in 2004. And then I got the mentors. I already had them. For a long time in the Sivananda organization, the senior teachers taught me. I really loved it. I absorbed whatever they taught me. I was so grateful to have, the helping hand of my teachers on my shoulders, on my head. And then I found an environment in the Sivananda centers where I could be myself. I could be myself. And then the process, yoga every day, every other day, the discipline, anushasan, being on time. We're 2 minutes away from closing down, almost 6:30. Being on time, the basic discipline of living a daily life. And then the knowledge, the enormous amount of knowledge, the infinite knowledge that comes from practicing yoga and being associated with Vedanta and life philosophy. And with all of you, gathering knowledge and experience from all of you, each one of you. So thank you for asking that question, Vishaka. Some final comments before we end for today. Yes, Hemant? Keep it short. Ji.
So, the difference between potential and passion,
Yes.
how can we connect the two of them?
Yes. From potential, from being.
Just
Yes.
one more small comment on the mentoring part. I think a guru helps you. My observation, this thing, that a guru helps you reach your potential much faster and maybe take you much longer. I mean, much further in fulfilling that potential.
Agreed. Absolutely, 100% agree. Coming back to the previous question, potential and passion are similar. The only thing is, potential is who you are, and you having discovered it. From the discovery of your potential comes the passion to live your life 100% every day, every month, every year. So passion is an expression of your potential. If you are passionate, then you have discovered your potential. Okay, couple of more questions. I'll just read out. So Vidya, next time we'll talk about maybe how to find your mentor, and we'll talk more about potential next time as well. Yes, go on.
So Nihit had an observation. Sometimes what gives us happiness may not give us returns as quickly as much as expected. Therefore, we often don't pursue it further and give up.
Absolutely.
Often the environment motivates us to leave it.
Absolutely, and you should quarrel with the environment and go against the environment, and you should do what gives you that happiness that you're talking about. You should follow your heart, you should follow your passion, you should fulfill your potential.
And then Wendy has a question for you.
Yes.
When you found your potential in yoga, did you ever have doubts along the way? How did you overcome them?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Wendy. We'll close on that note. I've had no doubt about the things that I've done in a full-time practice of yoga, teaching and practicing. Not even a single moment in the last 21 years that I've been doing this full-time have I ever had a doubt of having chosen this as my destiny. It's not my potential. This is currently my destiny. My potential through the practice of yoga has expressed itself. That's one of the expressions of my passion. I have many other passions, and all of them are because I chose yoga as the first one to fulfill. So Wendy's question about doubt, not even a single moment in the time that I converted from a corporate life, marketing and advertising, to a full-time practice and teaching of yoga, I ever had a doubt. In fact, I haven't had a doubt about Sivananda Yoga either. So not only yoga, but Sivananda Yoga. I've never had a doubt about what I'm doing, even for one single moment. And it has kept me well. It's like a mother never have doubts about mothers. Same way, yoga has fostered me. I've never had even a moment of doubt that yoga will take care of me and it will take care of the people whom I take care of. Wonderful to have all of you together. Thank you for joining today. I'm really blessed and really moved by your being here. Let's do the final prayer before we end.
I want to thank sir for taking up his potential as his passion, and we are lucky because he took that. We are now at this stage where we are gaining very much out of your potential. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hemant. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bolo Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Om Tat Sat. If you'd like to be added to a WhatsApp group, please do let us know. And also leave your comments here on Zoom as well as on YouTube, and I'll collect them and we can have an even wider and more relevant and deeper discussion in the weeks to come. See you again soon. Om Tat Sat.